Welcome back to another episode of Late Reviews, where we're breaking down the hottest TV shows and movies. Tonight we're going to cover the final episode, season finale of The Last of Us Season 2. Joined tonight by Rest in Bitch Face Kyle
How we doing?
and Drip Guy Woo.
Late Reviews family, what's good?
As always, your host, Double Dose. So, tonight was a pretty crazy episode. I feel like we saw some of the worst of Ellie as a character, and we're gonna kind of go through some of that. But it was kind of a culmination of all of her worst traits, but then something Jesse kind of says that also shows her best traits. So let's get right into it. I thought it was crazy when Ellie showed back up and was knocking at the door, and Jesse had the audacity to ask her, "What's the name of your horse?" Nigga, what? This is not a shapeshifters movie. This is like, what the fuck? No one's gonna be impersonating her with her voice. Like, I just thought that was goofy.
I was like, does he not trust her at this point? Like, I thought there was about to be like a big old turn for the worse. Like, nobody trusts Ellie at this point or something.
Well, even if it was like she wasn't by herself,
right?
She still would have. That question wouldn't have worked unless she said the wrong name, I guess.
Oh my god. Oh yeah.
So
I mean,
bored.
yeah, that was a little extra. I think that was a little extra in the writing room.
Yeah. So then she gets in there, and all I'm thinking about is it's crazy that Dina's old nigga is the one who's taking care of her while her new bitch is out here dropping bodies. Like, you know what I mean? Ellie went and got her revenge. Found Nora in the 2 episodes ago. Meanwhile, Jesse had to carry her all the way back there and push that arrow out of her. But I was also thinking too at the same time, I guess if they made it that far and Ellie had come back without finding Nora, then was this whole thing for nothing? Like, did Dina catch an arrow for no reason? It didn't amount to anything.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that decision?
I guess the whole thing was kind of weird to me. How they split off and then nobody left. Like, I don't know. I was kind of expecting Ellie to like kind of work with the team, but at the same time, like you just said, like she had to go and pursue, and if she didn't go get Nora, it would have been for nothing. So, and while she didn't get any information off Nora as to where Abby might be, like, damn, she got a good kill on her. So,
well, she got some.
Yeah, she got. Oh, you're right. She did get a little information, didn't she?
The wheel and the whale.
Yep. And we'll get into that. But no, I think that it all was weirdly going according to plan, I guess, as you could say, up until that point. You know, the arrow got out of Dina, as gross as it was. Ellie got her kill, and who knows where the fuck Tommy is.
Toph, what about you? What do you think? You think it was good that she went to find Nora, or you think she should have gone back and seen what was happening with Dina?
Well, I mean, if the whole point for them to, begin this journey was to go get their revenge, I would hope, after the events of episode 3 that, I know we got a lot going on, we got a baby on the way, we got a lot of moving parts, but the original game plan was to get revenge for Joel. So at that point in time, before we knew everybody else was going to come as well too, you got to get what you came for, get your information. I mean, like I said, she's a real one for, going out there with a 2-man or 2-woman, whatever you want to call it, try to be a 2-man army and get something done. That's a crazy task. Like I said, you got to get something out there. So I think it's justified.
That's fair. Next thing I was thinking about was when she was in that room, Ellie was in the room talking to Dina. How the fuck do you know that you just saw some shit you've never seen before where the spores were infecting people through the air? You didn't like change your clothes, take a shower. You just brought all that shit straight back to your baby mama. Like, you know what I mean? They could have infected the fuck out of her with that. For all we know, you know what I mean? Clearly it didn't happen, but how do you know that?
And even Ellie don't know that. Like, she's, yeah. being a dumbass 19-year-old.
I thought it was cool to see. I know we talked about this before about the emotional depths, kind of that Ellie's character goes to, like her sitting there at the edge of the bed, talking about like how easy it was for her to inflict pain on Nora, and like she thought it was going to be hard, and it wasn't hard. You know what I mean? That she was able just to beat the shit out of her and get those answers. So I thought that was cool, and just seeing her kind of grappling with it of like, you know, did she? Because Dina said like she deserved it, and she's like, well, did she deserve it? Did she not deserve it? Like, I think that she's like when she's got downtime, I think she's starting to think those like deeper questions through. And then she revealed it to Dina finally, like what happened in the hospital. And then Dina, it seemed like she was like, all right, bitch, so you got me out here on a revenge mission for a revenge mission. Like, this wasn't quite what we thought it was, which was interesting because earlier, Dina had said when they were walking, she was like, you know, no matter what happened, whatever Joel did, he didn't deserve that. And then it seems like once she got the truth, she was like, bitch, we gotta go home. Like, we gotta get the fuck out of here.
But she didn't share with her, you know, why he did it. Like, I mean, I guess she kind of did because, like, you know, she's his daughter, but she didn't really share the, you know, the caveat of why they wanted to kill her, right? Like, she didn't really give that info away of like that she's immune and.
You talking about before they went out there?
Well, I mean, like Dina already knew that she can get bit, right? Like,
You know, like before they started the journey.
well, yeah. Is Dina aware at all?
No, like before they went out on the journey, they didn't know. Not until the subway scene,
Where she saw her,
when she rescued him, and then
right.
like when she put the blick up to her, and because she was like, "You're gonna turn." So not until that moment did Dina know, like, you know, the full, you know, immunity that.
But I just feel, I don't know. I guess like I don't know. I don't get Joel's like total psychology, but I don't know. I feel like there's like his opinion is probably there's another way to save her, right? There's another way to get this out, and I would hope that Dina would kind of see that after learning from, you know, learning everything. But I don't know. I guess I'm waffling on my Dina love a little bit, but I guess I would have hoped she would have been more supportive because she does know everything. She does know where it all came from, and she should put the pieces together that she doesn't even get to love Ellie if Joel didn't do that. You know?
Okay, I get what you're putting down.
It was a long journey, but I think I got there in the end.
It was. I was trying to get there. Like, yeah. I'll let you guys go.
No, you're good. I think I get what you're saying. I think that she was coming to that like terms of like, wait a second, we thought these people just came and just fucking killed Joel and then dipped. Like, you mean to tell me that they came because Joel killed all of their fucking people, including her dad, and that's why they killed him. And so now we're out here trying to go kill her for doing, like, you know what I mean? I think Dina's like, all right, what the fuck? Like, I just got an arrow through my leg. I'm pregnant. Like, this is some bullshit. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I get that.
But I mean, I get what you're saying, that like, yeah, Joel was vindicated in doing so, which I don't think any of us disagree with. So then Jesse and Ellie head out to go try to link back up with Tommy at the rendezvous point. And Jesse shows Ellie what a real fucking, and I don't mean this in like a homophobic way. I just mean just as a personality trait, like what real father instincts look like. Jesse found out that Dina was pregnant and said, "All right, new plan. We getting the fuck out of here right now. I can't fucking die, dog. I got a daughter on the way, or a kid. I guess it's not specified if it's a daughter or a boy or a girl, but I got a kid on the way. Like, it's time to go the fuck home. Like, you know what I mean? We're not gonna be out here doing this bullshit. I'm not risking my life anymore." Like, which is what we talked about the episode where Ellie found out that Dina was pregnant. Is like, I remember we had a long conversation about this. Like, don't you have like parental instincts kick in? Like, all right, we need to get her the fuck out of here. keep this baby safe. We need to be here for the baby. Fuck the revenge. And Jesse immediately was right on that. He was like, "Yep, I got new priorities, and they're not doing this." So I thought that was just a stark contrast to how he reacted when he found out versus Ellie still being like, "I mean, you're pregnant and all, but we got a mission to handle."
Yeah, there's definitely something different when it's like your biological, like, I don't know, like there was something that you felt from him that you didn't feel from Ellie. Like Ellie wants to protect Dina, but also like Ellie is less mature than Jesse. Like there's that goes into it too. Like, but also like I've heard it a million times from friends, from parents all over. Like the second you find out you're having a kid, something changes in you, and then the second that kid's born, something else changes in you. Like there's this like this weird clock or tick that takes place, and Jesse definitely felt that, man. He wanted the fuck out of there, and you called that. You said he's gonna find out, and he's just gonna want to get Dina out of there. He's not gonna care about any of this revenge shit anymore. And yeah, that pretty much reigned true. He basically immediately turned, not turned on Ellie, but turned on the mission. And it almost seemed for a minute there like he didn't even care about getting Tommy, like, because he didn't bring him up. Like he was just like, we need to leave. Same mentality as Dina. Like we need to get out of here. We bit off more than we could chew. What the hell are we still doing out here? I don't. Yeah. The more I talk, the more I'm going to get into the end of the episode. So I'm going to stop. So
The only thing that I guess I think about that is because that's why I brought that up a few episodes back about like something changing in you when you find that out. And I don't think that like people that adopt kids, I don't doubt that they have that exact same situation going on. And so I guess that's why I was so surprised that Ellie, like, and this is kind of what I talked about earlier about like her personality and shit, and where you see like I said, this episode kind of highlighted like the worst sides of Ellie is the fact that Ellie, even though she said like I'm gonna be a dad, and she was like, you know, told Dina she loved her and all that, like her priority still is not any of that. It's still getting the revenge. Where Jesse, who's not even like with Dina anymore, is still like, all right, I got a baby on the way, new priority. And so I think it just highlights the differences between them and like where Ellie's mindset is at. Toph, you have anything on that, or you want to keep going?
No, yeah, I got a lot to break down that part.
Yeah.
Kind of like what I had mentioned in, episode 3. Kind of like when Ellie, had to sit there and watch something that traumatic to, probably, the only main parent figure she had in her life during this time that's going to leave, some kind of traumatic experience. And then for the moment that she woke up, in the hospital, just instantly just started to freak out, started screaming. So Ellie, especially after the last episode, it kind of showed us like, the aftermath of how she's saying, I don't think I could ever, trust you again, or like, accept what you did. You took that from me. So like I said, she's kind of fighting, her own demons with her trying to, figure out herself. She said that was my purpose in life. You took that from me. And then when you kind of combine all of that with, what's going on in real time, her, falling in love with Dina, kind of thing being, a father figure now, kind of like what Kyle was saying, kind of like people kind of change the moment they know, they're going to have a kid, the time is born. We don't even use, most of the brain in our body. So like something just kind of clicks in your brain, like, okay, now I got to step up, I got a new set of priorities and things like that. Where Ellie is kind of balancing all that, her purpose, her relationships, her revenge. She's kind of like a full cycle. You kind of see like in the episodes, when she was like, I'm gonna be a dad with a little goofy face. She was happy. And then when things changed, and like when Jesse was saying, you get out of here, Tommy's probably dead. We just gotta get back there. And then from the moment he knew that Tommy was alive, for the gunshots, he flipped switched. Ellie was on board. And the moment she saw the whale and like the wheel, instantly you can see like her eyes just went, back of the head. She said, like bullet trying to shop. She said, "I got to do this no matter what." So like I said, she kind of like I don't want to say split personality, but like her decision making. What Jesse even said, "You're more about you than the community." Where shout out to Jesse, man. That dude, he didn't deserve what he got coming to him. That's messed up. Like I said, he said, "I didn't vote for you to kind of get revenge." This guy even showed a little story in that with the girl that he met. He said, "I wanted nothing more to leave with that girl." He didn't do it because he has that, I don't want to say like a man sense, but like I said, he thinks more about others before himself and things like that. And everything he did was try to, become the next community leader. But I think it's more of just Ellie, just, like I said, she's not, really in tune with herself and just can't kind of penalize all these different scenarios, emotions. She's just so set on revenge. Because I think if any of us went through that same kind of situation, in this setting, we'd all be messed up in the head and things like that. So that's all I got to say about it. So
That's
a lot to break down there.
That's a very good point. I mean, just at the end there where you said like it is it comes down to more than just maturity. Any of us, and when you're that blind with rage and your dad just got killed, like you're gonna want to go get your revenge, and that is gonna trump everything else. And you're gonna think, okay, I can juggle getting my revenge and being a dad and taking care of Dina, and especially as Ellie, who's been invincible, so to speak. So in her mind, I could see her being like, I can handle all of this. And then a guy like Jesse shows up and he's like, hey, we got to think about, he kind of sets things straight and is like, we got to think about more than just your revenge. And obviously, as I'm sure Spencer's going to lead into, she doesn't necessarily give up on that revenge. She cares a lot about Dina, but when push comes to shove, she cared a hell of a lot more about that revenge than getting her out of there.
Yo, that's a really good point I hadn't thought about before, Kyle, that you just said about the fact that she's used to being invincible. So like a lot of the stuff that like the biggest issues that they've had has been the zombies, and she's immune to that. So no matter how many times she gets bit, she's fine. Where every time in like season 1, that she and Joel wound up like running into people too, they were always able to handle that. Things got dicey a few times, but it was always fine. And it was just the two of them on the road for so long. So she's used to like the only priorities being her and Joel. And now that Joel's gone, it's just her and Joel's ghost. So learning how to think about other people and think about things in a holistic sense is probably difficult. And she did even mention that when we're going to talk about this scene in a second, but when she was talking about like the community, and she was like, my community died in front of me. I watched that. Like she's still, despite having Dina, despite having Jesse and Tommy, like she's not thinking about them as the community in the moment. She's thinking about her and Joel. And so, yeah, that's interesting. Real quick before we get to the pivotal part that we're going to talk about, more of Jess or Ellie's recklessness when they had the Scar dude, and she wanted to go save him, and she was like, he's a kid, and it was like, all right, like it's two of them, and you got a hurt girl back there, you got Tommy you got to link up with, and you want to risk it all and potentially get both of Ellie's, or not Ellie, but Dina's baby's parents killed on this mission to save two tribes that are warring with each other. Like that's nuts. Just shows more of her immaturity and just not thinking things through. Just wanting to hop out and gun them, whatever. I'm curious what if we're gonna find out in season 3 what this grand plan is for the wolves. Like they had the whole scene where the leader was talking about like, you're probably gonna be dead tomorrow. I'm probably gonna be dead tomorrow. Like, all right, what the fuck is the plan? And we obviously they're going to war with the Scars, and it sounds like they attacked the village and stuff. But I'm curious if we see more about that. Hopefully so. Hopefully it doesn't just click to like the after of that. You know what I mean? I want to see their war that they've got going on. But I thought it was interesting that they talked about how Ellie or Abby is supposed to be the new leader of the Wolves moving forward. And then a few minutes later, they talk about how everyone views Jesse as the new face of like the colony after, what is it, Maria is gone. So it's interesting to see like the two different characters that are being set up to be like the new leaders of their communities. Poor fucking Jesse, man. He's got to sit there and lose his girl to one of his best friends and sit there and just watch that from the sideline and come save them all. Like, bro's kind of getting cucked. It's bad. It's
but
bad.
he
I
even
feel
said
for
like
him.
who was the girl he claimed to be like in love with
From some
prior? Like
travelers.
Yeah, travelers.
he fell in love with a traveler, and that's who's on his mind. So I mean,
But he let her
you know,
go and he didn't leave because he always says he thinks about putting others first.
yeah, I mean, so Dina was just a pastime lay to him, you know, and then he
she
happened
was
to have a kid out of it.
she was the backup plan.
Yeah. So I mean, like he wants to be all high and mighty and be like, "Oh, I love." Like you didn't like you're sitting here talking about another girl when you think you're gonna die.
Well, I think that's
you
why
think
he
you're
was
gonna
saying.
die.
I think that's why he was saying that like he was cool with like them being together because he knows what true love is and he's not really in love with her like that. Like he loves her,
Right.
but not at that level.
He just wants to be a dad, which he. Anyways,
so Toph brought this up about like the scene where they hear the shots. They're like, "All right, fuck, we got to go find Tommy and save him." And then like Toph brought up as soon as she saw the aquarium and made that connection with the wheel and the whale, she was like, "Fuck Tommy, killing," which is so crazy to me because Tommy's literally out here to save you. He's Joel's brother, and really the only like biological family you have left. You know what I mean? If we're saying that Joel was her dad, and he's in trouble, he's in a fucking fight with the wolves, and you know how prepared they are, how much like equipment they've got, and numbers. And you're like, nah, fuck him. Like, he'll be all right. Like, I gotta go handle this. That's outrageous to me.
and to say that he would want me to do this was like so egotistical. Like he would want me for like it's like no, he would want you to like take recon and then report back once you guys had handled that firefight, and then you guys could all go get Abby together. Instead, you get fucking Jesse killed because you go there by yourself on a goddamn speedboat that happens to meet freaking a tidal wave. And
Yeah,
I don't know. That was just like so poorly done by her. Like go back, get with the team, and then you got like you're stronger in numbers, man.
yeah. I know you should be doing all of these things together, and it's crazy. But it just showed, like I said, this episode I feel like really shows like a lot of like the bad of Ellie's character. Like all of her bad like personality traits were very prevalent throughout this entire episode, and this was just another one. Like push comes to shove, saving Tommy who's still alive, getting revenge for a dead Joel, and it's not even a second thought to you. I knew. I think I said this when we did the episode too, but I could be wrong. I knew that Jesse was going to be voting no to go out there on the mission, and they had that big reveal finally. I was like, I knew it. Like he's seeing this as fucking sunk cost fallacy. Like we're not just going to keep throwing good people after dead people. You know what I mean? And that's what she wanted to do. So it doesn't surprise me that he voted no on that. And it was crazy that he finally said that shit to her too. Like I feel like so many people aren't talking truth to her, and he said that he was like, everything that you do is for you. You're not stopping to think about other people. And I feel like that's something that she really needed to hear, probably a long time ago. But and she's always been like that. Yep. At least this entire season she has been.
No, she acts invincible, like we were saying. Like she just thinks she's gonna get away with everything. It's the way her and Ellie acted, or her and Dina acted in the first episode when they're like 2 clickers, 3 this, and you know they're like, oh, we can handle it without the rest of the scout team.
Yeah.
And they couldn't. They bit off more than they could chew. They barely handled it. It's what we were bitching about when they left on their voyage of like they're biting off more than they can chew. And they just got lucky on their trek because, you know, character building and story building. So they made it to Seattle without too much turmoil, but they were not prepared for what they're in right now. And that's another thing. We saw that coming too. Like they we saw the big old army coming out against them, and the fact that Tommy was there and Jesse were there, like that saved the shit out of them.
And if, to be honest, if the wolves weren't at war with these scars the whole time, and she had to fight the whole power of an undistracted wolves, this shit would have been over in 2 episodes.
Yeah,
like she's gotten very lucky by the fact that they're all distracted while she's sneaking around.
That's a very good point.
But then you brought up like her in the boat, right? Which is crazy. First of all, I thought it was really cool seeing the scenery that they did, the big crazy storm, and the lightning and on the water. And then it keeps, like, every time the lightning flashes, you can see the city in the background. That looks so cool. But as soon as that fucking wave hit, I'm like, yeah, dog, I don't know about you, like, if you've ever fucking seen water before, but that's kind of what happens to fucking water during storms, dog. Shit gets fucked up, you get some crazy winds, and big-ass fucking waves come. And she is just, I mean, I think Nolan brought it up before. She's very, very heavily protected by plot armor. Like, it's not even like, I could say that, I don't want to say the writing is bad, but it's not necessarily great. Like, so she gets fucking knocked out the boat. Somehow her and the boat both wind up in the same spot on the land. As soon as I saw the scars, I started hearing Deads by Migos playing in my fucking ear, bro. You niggas in trouble. Like, they came and grabbed her ass up and put her on that fucking rope immediately. No time to talk. She's like, I'm not a wolf. They're like, nigga, we do not care. And fucking hoisted her ass up, and right as they're about to kill her ass, they hear the fucking fighting happening from the wolves attacking the village. So then they just drop her ass and run away. And so then she goes back to the boat, which is still there, washed up. Like, that's just 2 crazy lucky situations.
Yeah, and the boat was so perfectly, like, docked. Like,
right.
Like, somebody had totally docked that thing there. Like, that part was so ridiculous to me.
That was super plot armor. So then she goes into her little stealthy mission looking for them inside the aquarium. And I noticed that so she took out that revolver, and they had talked about, if anyone forgot, like when they planned on leaving for the mission, her and Dina, and she just had the revolver to begin with, and Dina was like, "This bitch is slow. It's got a kick. Like, this cannot be primary gun." And she was like, "All right, we're gonna save this for Abby." And so she had that motherfucker out because she thought she was gonna see Abby. So she's walking around with the revolver, and then yeah, bro, how every time Ellie has a gun pointed on somebody, the shit does not go well. Same shit happened with fucking Nora, bro. Like, you're 0 for 2 at least in fucking holding motherfuckers hostage. They keep getting the drop on you. This motherfucker went to pull the gun out, shoot back at her. She shot and killed both of the only 2 people that knew where the fuck Abby was. Congratulations, dog. And then...
And in training, she's 100%. She's hitting these, like, barrel rolls into freaking, like...
Well, she hit
like when she was training with Jesse early in the season, she was like 100%, dude. Like, she did not miss.
I mean, she didn't miss today, which may have been the problem.
I guess that's true. She got a 2-fer.
So then I think it's crazy how in the hell, bro, like, she just gave Jesse all that shit just a few minutes ago about how he would let that kid die. That was the scar. And then she didn't even try to cut old girl's baby out of her.
I think she was in shock. I think she was in shock, like, not trying to defend for her, but I also think that was almost, I don't know, it was something that, like, helped her grow up again, maybe.
What, killing a pregnant girl?
I keep saying, I feel like I say that every episode. This helped Ellie grow up, and then she doesn't grow up, so I guess I should stop fucking saying it.
Well,
maybe
I mean,
she's just
I do think that the whole
sociopath.
show is... No, I do think that the whole show is about her growing up and about, like, her development. Yeah. But I just think it's just another clash of, like, the personalities that shows the hypocrisy. Like, you wanted to jump out and bust niggas earlier to fucking save the scar you didn't know. But you got to go right here like, bro, please cut my baby out of me. I'm going to die. And she was like...
Yeah. Well, I shout out Lexi, who isn't on tonight. But even when we were watching it, she's like, are you going to do it? Like, she's like, start. Like, she gave you the instructions. Go.
Toph, what'd you think?
Well, without any spoilers, that scene was vastly different from the game. They cut a lot of stuff out. How that went down, I had to do a 360 and said, hold on. I don't remember it going down like that. The game was a lot more gruesome and how she
Okay.
did them dirty. But I think this version, it kind of showed her human element a bit more. Because she didn't give a fuck about no human element in the game. It was a whole lot more worse than that.
Well, can you tell us about it? I'm not sure if there's spoilers or not. Can you tell us what happened?
No, I mean, not really spoilers, but she didn't just two-piece them in the game.
What happened? What you do?
Yeah, so like, kind of like the same we talk about, like the map part. Like, I
Yeah.
want you to pick one and you pick one. But Owen, instead of him reaching for a gun, he charged at Ellie. I had a little tussle, and she actually shot him. But he didn't die right away. It wasn't like he getting shot like in the neck. In this one, he kind of got shot more in like the stomach, because it wasn't quite dead. And then Mel comes in with a knife, and they do a little tussle. Knocked her down. She actually stabbed her in the neck in the game. Like I said, it's a lot more gruesome.
Yeah.
So they kind of, they definitely did it a lot more easier in this one. And then she had the nerve to put the gun to Owen's neck and say, "Where is Abby?" So like I said, it was a lot more darker in the game. So
Yeah, they would that would
Yeah.
almost make me feel less bad for the pregnant woman because she came charging at Ellie trying to stab her, whereas in the show they kind of make her seem like a complacent, compliant person because she was like ready to give up Abby's information, and he was like, no, like they almost changed that up a little bit and make you almost feel bad. Like I personally felt bad for the pregnant lady because I'm like, oh, she's just doing her job. But in the game, that makes Ellie seem a lot more justified in my like kill or be killed situation. I don't care if she's pregnant or not. She's coming at me with a knife.
Was Mel pregnant in the game?
She was, but like after she didn't realize it, in that moment.
Yeah.
But it still wasn't like as dolled up as they did in this. They did a complete 360.
Did Ellie have the was she supposed to cut the baby out in the game too and didn't do it?
No, she just kind of more felt bad about killing, the child, because you can make the connection where she's gonna be, stepdad, or taking her own child as well too. But they kind of showed more of the darker side of Ellie, where like, I need this revenge. I'm doing whatever it takes to get it. Where I feel like in this one, I was just like, they're trying to show a different side, and I get it. But I kind of feel like it's didn't really, like, Storm Concealer Deliverance doesn't capture that, same essence that Ashley Johnson did in the game. It's the part where I kind of like struggle with, trying to find that, balance with it.
Yeah.
But I think in this version, it showed more of like a human element side. So I could get it from both sides, but it was a vastly different performance in the game compared to in the show.
Damn. Like I said, yeah, the parallels of like, her having a pregnant, like, her, like you said, about to be a stepdad, and then her talking about how Jesse didn't save the kid to then just let the baby die, at least in the TV show. Like, I thought that was nuts. And like didn't even try. It'd be one thing if you like got in there hacking and like fucked it up, but to just let that shit go was crazy.
Yeah, and what Kyle said, I mean, pretty sure if we put ourselves in that, like, I wouldn't know. Like she said, how deep do I cut? And then Mel was like, more than you think. And like, trying to capture all the emotions where, she didn't want to kill it. That's what she literally said, at that moment. And then end up getting a collab, Call of Duty style. It hit a FaZe Clan tonight. You can kind of see, the
I mean, yeah, that is you are spot on with that. That was that quick scope. Oh shit.
Yeah.
I hit that.
You can see, the little remorse, the tears falling down, her face the moment she did that and she saw the baby. And then she's telling like, I want this baby to live, forget about me, I don't care, but this baby I want to, see the light of the day. So like I said, you could definitely kind of like, see that the human element, she's not all, just forget everything, but she has that trouble with, controlling her emotions, kind of like seeing what's right from wrong. There's a time and place for everything. So you can kind of see she's very rational. She's been doing that as a kid, her upbringing. she's going through, struggles real time. But I think they did a good job on the show to showing that, like, damn, I fucked this one up. I just
Yeah.
wanted Abby, really trying to get this information. Nobody's helping. You get more frustrated. And you can kind of see when she walked into the theater, you could tell, like, she walked in, she didn't say anything, just walked straight. She's like, what did I just do?
And you know what's crazy too is like the different parallels between two very similar things. When Abby and her crew came to get Joel, they very much made it a point to like, we're here to kill Joel and get the fuck out. Ellie has killed every single fucking person that was a part of that group. It's not been, let me just get Abby. It's been Nora. Well, she said that she didn't kill Nora, but she left her to die after beating the shit out of her. And then she killed Mel and Owen. So it's like, you're doing this way fucking harder than fucking what Abby did. Abby wanted one person and got that person. You're fucking eliminating the entire squad.
I mean, Abby also kind of, not as much as Ellie did, but I don't know if you guys remember, but in the beginning, when they, saw the camp, they're kind of analyzed like, oof, there's a lot of people here. Like, Abby wanted to go, but it was Owen that said, hold on, I got a plan. So like I said, Abby was also, very anxious, like, I got to get this guy. Like, they had a lot more information because they had more of a group. It's a lot different when you got, what was it, like 6 of them, 7, or you just got, the 2 women and Abby and Dina. And Dina, not Abby and Dina, my bad, Ellie and Dina. And Dina was the one kind of like triangulating all the positions. Ellie's just, I'm going to win. I'll figure it out as I go kind of thing. Yeah, she in there guns blazing.
I just think it's crazy that like all the group of people that were like very adamant about like, we're here just to kill Joel, all of them got fucking whacked.
I mean, she was trying to get info, and the only thing she could was she knew those people. She's taking names, crossing them out, and now she found Abby.
So we're to get back to the, and then at her lowest moment there, laying there crying, guess who fucking shows up again? The 2 niggas you just deserted, Jesse and fucking Tommy. So then we get back to the end of the episode, and then this is what I thought was kind of touching, though, was the fact that she was talking to Jesse, and like I said, this whole episode we've seen kind of the worst parts of Ellie, of, the fact of like, she's just reckless, she wants to kill motherfuckers, it's all about vengeance, not thinking about other people. And then Jesse told her, he was like, I thought about it, and I was like, if I was out somewhere lost, scared, captured, afraid, you'd burn the world down to save me. And it was like a very touching kind of full circle moment. I'm like, all of the bad things about Ellie, which also make up the good parts of her as well too, which I thought was a really good writing for that. And so then we get to the very end of the episode, right? They hear the fucking the shouting and shit. They come running out. And why the fuck, if you know that some shit is happening and have no idea what you're walking into, why would you just fucking charge through the fucking doors? You understand that the entire end of that episode could have gone so much differently if these niggas had a peek. Like, let me look out real quick. You know what I mean? It's one motherfucker out there.
Just press circle, get the peek through door.
Get the peek, bro. Look out through the blinds and see what we're dealing with instead of running right the fuck through. And so instead, they ran the fuck through, and they get Jesse.
Nobody has a heartbeat sensor?
Jesse got dropped fucking immediately, dog. That nigga greased. I fucking called that shit. Remember fucking 2 episodes ago, I said, Jesse is dying. That motherfucker is gone. And it was crazy. That motherfucker said, I cannot die now. I have to make it back. R.I.P. Jesse. R.I.P. Jesse.
Bro, seeing his face splattered on the floor honestly broke my heart. Like, I knew it was coming, like you said. Like, it was bound to happen to either him, Tommy, or Dina at this point. And
the worst part is, like he knew the signs of like Dina. He said she'll never turn, a drink down. Like, he was smart enough to kind of know the signs, but he didn't get to hear it from her. So like he knew, but he didn't get, the closure. So like, you gotta feel bad for that part too, man.
And so I have just 2 questions left. How the fuck did Abby know that they were there? And where the fuck is Dina?
Abby knows they're there because her boy is dead.
Right, but how did they know that they were at the theater, I'm saying? How did she find them?
I can't answer that question.
Right.
Without displaying, you just have to watch.
Yeah, I'm under the impression that I think I saw like a headline the other day that like season 3 is like the Dina or the Abby show. Like we're gonna
Yeah.
get to see shit from her perspective.
So kind of like how this one ended, and it
Yep.
went back in time since Seattle day one in the Seahawks Stadium. So season 3 is the Abby arc. So it's really going back in time. Now we're
Shout
seeing,
out to 12th Man.
yeah. Now you're gonna be seeing Abby's, progression in real time.
I just like I said, I thought it was very interesting that like I'm sure we do find out how she knows, but I thought it was crazy that she somehow tracked him down there. But also, like I said, where's Dina? Wasn't Dina out there in that main area? Where the fuck is Dina at?
Oh, she was asleep.
So then I'm assuming then if Dina wasn't there for that, the whole way that fucking where the gunshot happens. What's up, Kyle?
Bro, I'm just becoming less and less Team Dina the more I hear Toph talk.
Bro,
Like,
Dina
oh,
didn't
she
do
asleep. He's like, he's already given her the alibi. Like, y'all gonna have to find out.
Nah, Dina probably fucking saves Ellie. That's probably what happens because you hear the gunshot go off and it cuts to black.
True.
If Tommy was laying on the ground, Jesse's dead, and Ellie's at gunpoint, and Ellie doesn't somehow die, it's got to be because Dina tackled her from the back. That's
Dina
that's
or
my
Tommy?
theory.
Yeah.
Tommy was under the ground.
Tommy had the blick to his head. He
Yeah.
wasn't.
Well,
I think Dina had to have tackled
yeah.
her.
It's either Tommy pulled some Joel shit or it's Dina. Yeah.
Yeah. But any final thoughts on this episode before we talk about the other part?
Man, I'm scrambled. I ain't got nothing.
I'm good.
Okay. Toph, I know you said that you had some stuff you wanted to talk about with the I guess what differences of the game and the TV show, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Get it off.
Fans, I urge all of you guys to, if you really
Haters, fans, everybody.
no, not even haters, just fans of the show. If you really, connect with it, you rock with it. I advise all of you to at least watch the YouTube cutscenes from season 1 to season 2. Don't watch season 3 because you're gonna ruin it. But it's a vastly different, setting from show to game. And of course, we all get it. A game is a game, but this show is based off of a game. So when you talk about plot armor, things like that, of course, well, one main character did die, but you had two. Like I said, of course, you're gonna have plot armor because it's a game. You can't just, off your main character in any game. You die, you restart back where you're at. So it makes sense. Sorry he had to die. Jesse's not a main character. Ellie, how she gets, saved this immunity. She's a main character. She's got the plot armor. She's got the juice. She can't die. The show must go on. But I'm sure, unless you live on the rock, everybody has seen that Belly Ramsey memes. She's getting crucified, on social media. And, I'm not one for bullying and things like that. But when you got a show or game as polarizing as this, where people have their own opinions, was Joel right? Do you deserve it? People are gonna get an uproar about it. Everything's gonna be political in some certain way, shape, or form. But from someone that's seen this game show like 5 times from 5 different YouTubers, streamers' perspective, I went through my own, kind of monologue where at first I was Team Joel. Your whole season 1, you go that journey with them. You gotta build some kind of connection to that character. You're gonna feel some way when you see this dude just get, tortured right in front of you. And you got little Ellie. We've seen little Ellie grow up. Now you got, teenager Ellie. Of course, we're gonna get attached to it. So when you see Joel get offed, and now you got the whole game, no Joel, you're gonna feel some kind of way about it. But you kind of have to step back, disconnect yourself from your feelings, and just watch the show or the game from the experience. Where first it's like, man, that's my dude Joel. I would have been to the hospital, firing everybody as well too. But then when I kind of stepped back, rewatched again, I said, you know what? What he did, that wasn't right, man. He took it, from, her thing, that was her purpose. I still don't know how in the world they would just, disperse this cure over the entire world. I've never seen, any kind of theory. But if there's a possible chance to, recorrect the world, the human sense does make, sense where you gotta, unfortunately sacrifice, this girl for their own better, humankind. Like I said, it's just a different kind of, emotion and spirit that Ashley Johnson did, a fantastic job in the game compared to Bella Ramsey. And I heard it today, don't know for sure or not, but Neil Druckmann didn't allow the actors to study off the game. They kind of just had to go like, here's your script, you got to act it out, for the show. Where if you're not, not getting, the study guide for the test, and you got to just act out this, super complex story, I could kind of see why acting and things like that wouldn't be, true to the game. And of course, nothing can be like a true one-to-one from the game to the show. Everybody gets that standpoint. But like I said, I think it's just more of her acting and those kind of like, pivotal emotional moments that I'm going to be a dad, things like that. People are going to feel some kind of way about that. They just want to see, the darkness, the rawness, the character development. So we just don't get that same pop as we did in the game to the show. So
Do you think
that's all I got for the monologue.
Do you think that it's more of an issue with the acting, or do you think it's more of you're more have a problem with the changes that the script has?
I mean, in most like scenes they kind of showed that it's still spot on from game to show. It's just how she's portraying it. Um, that's where a lot of people had the disconnect, where they're just like, she just doesn't have that same like reaction. It's just a lot more dulled down that she does compared to what Ashley Johnson gave you. It's just not as powerful. So that kind of answers your question.
I think that's just a tail old comparison. Any video game that gets turned into a movie, gets turned into a TV show, it gets instantly compared to its predecessor, And somebody that's a fan of the video game, like Toph, like he's of course gonna compare what's going on with Ellie and all that, like, and there's a lot of similarities, and I'll give the writers on this show that, like, there are a lot of similarities that they held up, but they're taking in their own liberties, and anybody that's a big fan of the game is going to be mad that they're taking those liberties into action,
Yeah,
makes
I
sense
never
or not,
I never played the game or anything, so I guess it's hard for me to speak from your perspective. I feel like whenever I've seen Bella Ramsey act, I feel like they kill that shit. Like,
I think she's doing she's a great actress, like, and I don't think any of us can argue that.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've seen the depth from it. Is it just a different portrayal, or is it just not the same? You just like the one better than the other, or do you think that Bella Ramsey's falling short?
I mean, I think she's doing the best that she can, but she's fighting an uphill battle. This is a battle that you can't win. So
Well, I think even him just describing that scene with the pregnant woman, right? Like the writers on the show wrote that in for Bella Ramsey so much differently than Ellie in the video game. They made her feel guilty for that decision, whereas Ellie in the video game felt guilty after the fact, but she didn't and not that Ellie knew she was killing a pregnant woman, but like they didn't give her the chance to go and like save the baby. But now you have to like put that into consideration. Like Ellie just let a baby, like you just said, Ellie just got mad at Jesse for not letting a kid live, and then she let a baby die in the womb when she was literally given the instructions on how to save it. So they're giving you like different battles to fight for the characters, I think, once they put it into a TV show.
Yeah.
Well, then that would be more creative differences than not acting differences, right? Or no?
Correct. That's what I think he's saying, right?
No, I think Toph is saying you can correct us. I think that you're saying that you have more of an issue with the acting than with the creative differences, right? Or wrong?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I totally get you have to kind of change things for a show aspect. A game you got a lot more downtime, things like that. And the show you kind of have to get, the most important parts within, your 45 minutes to an hour, however long your episode is. So everything is going to get more sped up. Like I said, a lot of people just have an issue with, her emotion in these pivotal scenes. Like I said, it's hard to compare from what you've only seen to what other people have seen. Like, so you really just have to watch different tidbits to kind of get the aspect of like, okay, what do people mean when they say like, it just didn't seem as powerful? Because like I said, if this is your first watch, this is all you're going off of on there. It's like I said, it's just something you just truly can't kind of compare till you see the two differences.
That's fair.
Like I said, I think,
Anybody?
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Like I said, I think people, if you think she's doing a good job, hey, as long as you enjoy it, that's all we're looking for, things like that on there. Like I said, I think she's doing her best, but I think she's just kind of got dealt an unwinnable hand. And even Abby, people are killing her as well too, because she's vastly different from the game. So it's not even just Bella Ramsey; it's just all the characters in the show. The true diehard fans just aren't happy about it.
That's fair. I do think it's got to be. I mean, like, I think Kyle mentioned, like, anytime you have an adaptation, it's going to be a little bit different. Like I said, I personally, I don't have any of the game stuff to go off of, so I'm really enjoying it, and I feel like it's been very good. That I've thought that the action has been very good, but I could totally get where if you've got another comparison that you could see those being different. If anybody that's watching this has played the game or seen like game playthroughs and stuff, leave us a comment. Let us know like if it's kind of the same way for you, if you are feeling like they're missing the mark on it, or what the deal is. Are you still enjoying the show, Toph, or is it like you're
Yes.
okay?
No, like I said, I'm someone that likes to kind of see the differences of certain things. Honestly, like I said, I still enjoy it for what it is. Of course, I'm gonna have that, my game thing more. But I just like to kind of see, one of my favorite series, just shared on another screen. So I still enjoy it. Some things I might not like, but I'm not, going to be up and tight about like, a lot of the general public or, I just take it as it is.
That's fair.
Wouldn't it have been funny if you were like, "Are you still enjoying it?" And he was like, "No," and he just left immediately.
Fuck
He was
no,
like-
we'll not be back for season 3.
I'm not that tight about it. So
I feel that. Well, thank you for sharing the kind of the differences of that. That's one of the things I enjoy about having you on here with us, having played it, is being able to break down like,
Me too.
this on the TV show versus this, like the scene with Owen and Mel. Like I enjoy
It's
getting
funny
that perspective of it.
because my whole IG like for you page, like when I hit search, it's just all Last of Us.
Yeah.
How did I even get all this stuff? I'm like, man, I kind of forgot about this stuff. But yeah, my whole IG's flooded with Last of Us now. So
Hell yeah. Well, everybody, that's been us for first season of Late Reviews. We're gonna take some time off right now, kind of figure out what the next move is. I know we're planning on doing some reviews for Fantastic Four and for Superman when they come out, so we'll give you some episodes for that. If there's another TV show you'd like to see us cover, leave it in the comments. We'll take a look at that, see if we can't make that happen. Late entry will still be continuing as regular. So tomorrow, when you're seeing this tomorrow, the next episode of Late Entry will come out. Thanks for everyone who's been rocking with us, and we will catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.
peace.